It's February 2018, and manga author Hamachiaki releases a small 4-comic manga called Bocchi The Rock. A simple story about Hitori Goto, a high school girl who dreams of being in a band and start learning guitar despite her crippling anxiety. While it placed 8 in the Next Manga Awards 2019, in the comics category, it wasn't groundbreaking or particularly successful, selling only around 5,000 copies per volume upon release. Fast forward a few years to 2022, while everyone was celebrating the success and weirdness of Chainsaw Man, the life-changing story of Edge Runners, and the rise of a certain anime that became the #1 show for 2 days before getting mass downvoted by In the meantime, Bocchi The Rock quietly debuted its anime adaptation, and it changed everything. Essays, memes, clips with millions of views, bizarre fan art, skyrocketing manga sales. Bocchi The Rock blew up. But how did that happen? What made something so simple so successful? And most importantly, why can't people stop thinking about it? Well, to answer these questions, let's revisit its story and dissect the aspects that make Bocchi The Rock so unforgettable and also one of my favorite anime of all time. It begins with Hitori Goto, or as we know her better, Bocchi, a high school girl who dreams of being in a band after watching a single interview on TV. Inspired, she picks up her dad's guitar and spends countless hours practicing alone in her room, dreaming of one day performing on stage and becoming an incredibly successful rock star. However, there is one slight problem. She's incredibly anxious, mortified by interactions with strangers and overthinking everything. She's a hot mess. Pause, that sounds weird out of context. She's a mess. One day while going to school, she brings her guitar with her in the hope that someone will notice her, that someone will talk to her about it. But no one does. Sad and desperate, she's on the verge of giving up on making friends. But then everything changes. A Dorito head girl approaches her out of nowhere and asks her to play guitar in her band today. Bocchi is to say the least terrified, but agrees to help. While it doesn't magically solve all her problems, she slowly gets better, both at performing and at interacting with people, all thanks to her efforts and most importantly her bandmates. Nijika, the drummer and the band's unofficial leader, she's the one who holds everything together with her endless optimism. Ryo, the bassist, who's kind of weird, but in the best way. She's laid back, unpredictable, and somehow makes it all work. And Kita, the vocalist, who is everything Bocchi wishes she could be. Outgoing, charismatic, and seemingly fearless. It's a simple story with some weirdly colorful haired characters who are as stereotypical as they come. Yet it works. Yet people love it. Yet it has an incredibly high rating. And yet, people can't forget about it. But what is it exactly that makes it stand out? Well, I have a few ideas, and probably the biggest is... She dreamed of standing on a stage, her music reaching the world. But in reality, even speaking up felt impossible. Every step forward felt terrifying, and every failure felt overwhelming. But she kept going. She picked up her guitar, practiced every day and took small, brave steps, even when it felt like no one was watching. Her journey wasn't perfect. She stumbled, doubted herself, and wanted to give up. But she kept moving forward, one note, one step at a time. Because that's what growth looks like. And if she can find her way through the fear and doubt, maybe you can too. But she isn't just a protagonist, she's the reason so many people see themselves in the show. Her character is a blend of painfully relatable struggles, quiet resilience, and moments of growth that feel as rewarding as they are real. From the very beginning, Bocchi is defined by her anxiety. She wants connection, to be part of something bigger than herself. But she's utterly paralyzed by the thought of putting herself out there. It's not just a fear of rejection. Like when she takes her guitar to school, hoping someone will notice her, and end up sitting alone all day, consumed by her own overthinking. You can't help but feel sad for her. It's a small, quiet moment, but it perfectly captures that longing for connection and the pain of feeling overlooked. Or the scene where she wants to hand out flyers for the band, but spirals into imagining being judged or outright ignored. Or the moment where she has to perform live for the first time and physically hides behind a cardboard box. It's not subtle, but it's painfully real for anyone who's ever felt out of place. Her growth is subtle but meaningful. As the series progresses, Bocchi begins to find her own rhythm, both in music and in life. Whether it's suggesting a new idea to the band, or opening up little by little to her bandmates, she starts taking steps forward. What makes Bocchi so relatable isn't just her anxiety, it's the way her feelings and journey reflect universal struggles. She's not meant to be a perfectly realistic depiction of social anxiety. She's an exaggerated reflection of emotions that many people experience. It's not about relating to everything she does, it's about finding pieces of yourself in her story. Maybe it's the way she overthinks everything, convinced that the smallest mistake will lead to disaster, or how she uses her guitar as both a comfort and a way to connect with others, or the way she keeps trying even when it feels impossible, because deep down she believes things can get better. By the end of the series, Bocchi is still Bocchi. She still overthinks, still gets nervous, and still spirals into anxiety. But she's also stronger. She learned to take risks, to trust others, and to embrace the messy, imperfect process of growing. And that's why so many people find her relatable. Bocchi's story isn't about becoming fearless. It's about learning to move forward one step at a time. Even when the world feels overwhelming, she shows us that it's okay to struggle and that even small victories can mean everything. However, Bocchi and her relatability are not enough to carry the story alone. There are other characters too that we love just as much. Nijika always seems in control, confident and approachable, the driving force of the band. But her true strength lies in how she uplifts everyone around her, especially Bocchi. From the very start, she recognizes Bocchi's potential and quietly helps her grow, never pushing too hard but always encouraging. Yet, Nijika isn't without her own struggles. She carries the weight of her sister's dream, and though she hides it well, it's a deeply personal responsibility that shapes her every move. Ryo's laid-back attitude and that humor makes her stand out, but beneath that cool exterior, she's deeply committed to the band and their music. She doesn't express her emotions as openly as Nijika or Kita, but her quiet support and unwavering loyalty speak volumes when it matters the most. Ryo also highlights a fascinating contrast within the group, the difference between being introverted like her and living with social anxiety like Bocchi. It's subtle but important distinction that has sparked incredible discussions and essays, adding depth to her character. Kita is bright, cheerful, and always ready to bring energy into every room she enters. But her positivity masks insecurities. Beneath the surface, she constantly questions her place in the band, wondering if her hard work can ever match her bandmates' raw talent. What makes Kesuko Band so special isn't just the music they create, but the way they grow and support each other. Nijika's optimism lifts everyone during tough moments, Ryo's steady presence grounds the chaos, and Kita's warmth creates a space where even someone as anxious as Bocchi can begin to shine. Together they become more than a band. They are a connection, a group of individuals who bring out the best in one another, and through their struggles and differences, form something greater than themselves. But having good characters alone isn't enough to make an anime great. Bocchi The Rock excels in two things that few other anime manage to master. At its core, Bocchi The Rock is an anime about a band. Naturally, the music had to deliver, and it does, spectacularly. Every track by Kesuko Band feels authentic, blending catchy melodies with raw emotion. From upbeat, high-energy performances like Guitar, Loneliness and Blue Planet, to more introspective pieces like That Band. The soundtrack mirrors the emotional journey of the characters. The music doesn't just sound good, it means something. Each song reflects the band's growth and struggles, making the performances feel deeply personal and impactful. But the execution of the anime goes far beyond its music. What truly sets Bocchi The Rock apart is its sheer creativity in storytelling and visual presentation. The series takes full advantage of the medium, constantly experimenting with different styles of animation to express Bocchi's inner world. Whether it's surreal imagery to visualize her anxiety, bizarre claymation sequences, or fourth wall breaking jokes, every moment feels alive and purposeful. This isn't just for laughs or aesthetic flair. These creative choices bring us closer to Bocchi's perspective, letting us feel her emotions rather than just watching her experience them. When Bocchi spirals into panic, the visuals heighten that chaos in a way that's both funny and deeply relatable. And when she overcomes a challenge, even in the smallest way, the payoff feels all the more satisfying because we've lived those struggles with her. It's not just Bocchi though. The entire production reflects the same care and passion that the band itself put into their music. From the precise comedic timing to the energetic and dynamic concert scenes, every aspect of the show feels carefully crafted to immerse the viewers in Keisuke Band's world. Even the quieter moments are given room to breathe, balancing the chaos with reflective, heartfelt scenes. These moments of calm allow the relationships between the characters to shine and make the explosive concert performances feel even more electrifying. Ultimately, Bocchi The Rock succeeds because it understands how to use every tool in its arsenal: music, animation, and storytelling to create an experience that feels as raw and unpredictable as life itself. It's more than just a series about a band. It's a celebration of creativity, vulnerability, and the power of finding your voice even if it's one small step at a time. When Bocchi The Rock debuted, no one could have predicted the impact it would have. What started as a modest 4-comic manga about a socially anxious girl with a guitar transformed into an anime that resonated with millions. It's a story about friendship, growth, and finding your place in the world, all wrapped up in an absurd humor, brilliant music, and a lot of heart. But Bocchi The Rock isn't just about Bocchi's journey, it's about all of us. Whether you see yourself in Bocchi's struggles, Nijika's determination, Ryo's quiet confidence, or Kita's drive to belong, there is something universal about their stories. They remind us that no matter how awkward or out of place we feel, we are not alone. This is what makes Bocchi The Rock unforgettable. It's not just the music or the clever visuals. It's the way it speaks to something deeply human, or fears, or hopes, and the joy of finding people who accept us as we are. Back in 2018, Hamajeki might not have imagined that her small manga would lead to this. A cultural phenomenon that inspires so many to pick up a guitar, or simply take a step outside of their comfort zone. And while Bocchi The Rock has ended its first season, the conversation it started is far from over. Because in every essay, every cover song, and every meme, there's a little piece of Bocchi's journey. A reminder that growth isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, trying again, and playing your part in the band, no matter how out of tune it feels at first. So whether you are a fan of rock music, anime, or just a good story, Bocchi The Rock is a reminder of the power of connection, creativity, and a little bit of courage. And as the credits roll, one thing is clear. This isn't just Bocchi's story, it's all of ours.